all aware, His Highness Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the President of the United Arab Emirates, has just concluded an official visit to New Delhi. This has been a short but an extremely substantive visit. His Highness was received at the airport personally by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is a special gesture that is characteristic of the extremely warm and close relationship that the two leaders share. They then traveled together from the airport to the Prime Minister's residence, where discussions were held both in the restricted format and then in expanded format, where delegation members engaged with each other. A number of documents were also exchanged in the presence of the leaders. I'll share the details with you. The importance of this visit can be gauged by the composition of the delegation accompanying His Highness the President of the UAE. It comprised members of the royal families of both Abu Dhabi as well as Dubai, and several senior ministers and officials. Amongst the members of the delegation were His Highness Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Managing Director of the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of the UAE, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohamed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Crown Prince of Dubai, also the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Defense of the UAE. And also His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohamed bin Zayed Al Sultan, who is the Deputy Chairman of the Presidential Court. In addition, there were the Secretary General of the Supreme Council for National Security, the Minister for Industry and Advanced Technology, the Minister of State for International Cooperation, the Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence, Digital Economy and Remote Work Applications, and the Minister of State for Defense Affairs. So as I said, even for this short visit, this was a really, really high-powered delegation that accompanied the President. The talks between the leaders, as I said, were characterized by the warmth and special friendship between the two leaders that has become a characteristic of this relationship. There is a detailed joint statement that is being issued, which will be uploaded as soon as we finish here, as also a list of outcomes from this visit. Let me quickly take you through the key outcomes that will, in a sense, define our bilateral engagement with the UAE in the immediate near future. First of all, a letter of intent was signed between the two sides to work towards concluding a framework agreement for a strategic defense partnership between India and the UAE. A letter of intent was also signed between the Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center in Space and the UAE Space Agency for a joint initiative for space infrastructure development and its commercialization. Under this particular initiative, we will look to setting up new launch complexes, satellite fabrication facilities, joint missions, space academy, and training centers. A letter of intent was signed on the UAE's participation in the development of special investment region in Dholera in Gujarat. This is a mega partnership initiative that will look at the establishment of an international airport, a pilot training school, an MRO facility, a greenfield port, a smart urban township, as well as projects related to railway connectivity and energy infrastructure. The UAE has always been a premier energy partner for India, and therefore building on this comprehensive energy partnership, a long-term agreement for the supply of zero point 0.5 million metric tons of LNG per annum was concluded during the visit. The UAE is now the second largest supplier of LNG to India. In addition, an MOU on food safety and technical requirements was also signed, which will provide for sanitary and quality parameters to facilitate trade, exchange, promotion of cooperation in the food sector, and encourage food products and other agricultural product exports from India to the UAE. It will benefit the farmers of India and contribute to food security in the UAE. The discussions between the two leaders focused on several new and emerging areas of cooperation as well. In fact, to capitalize on the new opportunities for civil nuclear cooperation in the light of the passage of the Shanti Act in India for sustainable harnessing and advancement of nuclear energy for transforming India. The two sides decided to explore partnership in advanced nuclear technologies, including development and deployment of large nuclear reactors and small modular reactors, as well as cooperation in advanced reactor systems, nuclear power plant operations, and maintenance and nuclear safety. Artificial intelligence was identified as a priority area of cooperation. It was decided to collaborate on setting up a supercomputing cluster in India with UAE partnership, and the UAE will also look at investments for expanding data center capacity in India. The UAE will also participate at a high level in the Artificial Intelligence Summit that India is organizing in February 2026. Both sides will also explore the possibility of setting up a digital or a data embassy. This is a relatively new concept, but there will be work done to see how these can be set up under mutually recognized sovereignty agreements. On the trade front, following the signing of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between the two countries in 2022, the bilateral trade has since crossed $100 billion. And in view of this, the two leaders decided to raise ambitions and look to double bilateral trade to $200 billion by 2032. It was also decided to facilitate exports of the MSME industries to the West Asian, African, and Eurasian regions. And both sides will look to working expeditiously on several initiatives that are currently underway between them, including Bharat Mart, the Virtual Trade Corridor, and the Bharat Africa Setu initiatives. UAE companies, DP World, and the First Abu Dhabi Bank have been granted permissions to open their offices and operations in Gift City in Gujarat. The two sides have also decided to work towards interlinking national payments platforms for promoting trade. This will build on the already operational local currency settlement system, the launch of UPI in the UAE, and the Jaivan card. Very importantly, the two sides also decided to work on establishing House of India in Abu Dhabi. This will be a unique cultural space that will include a state-of-the-art museum that will reflect India's ancient cultural heritage and be a lasting symbol of the India-UAE partnership. The Prime Minister also appreciated the UAE's decision to provide historical artifacts for the National Maritime Heritage Complex that is coming up at Lothal. Both sides also agreed to work together in the field of polar science, including joint expeditions and institutional cooperation. As you know, the UAE hosts one of the largest gatherings of or communities of Indian origin anywhere in the world. There are today possibly close to 4.5 million people from India living and working in the UAE, and the Prime Minister expressed his deep appreciation to President His Highness Sheikh Mohammed for looking after the interests and the welfare of these citizens of ours from India. The two sides also agreed to further nurture vibrant people-to-people ties through youth exchanges. Finally, the two leaders also had the opportunity to exchange views in detail on regional developments in West Asia, and they expressed support for all efforts in promoting peace, security, stability, and prosperity in the region. They unequivocally condemned cross-border terrorism and for the perpetrators, supporters, and financiers of all acts of terrorism to be brought to justice. The UAE president expressed his support for the success of India's chairmanship of the BRICS grouping this year, and as I said, also confirmed the UAE's high-level participation in the AI Impact Summit that is being held next month. As we speak, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar is seeing off the president at the airport. My final thought would be that though this has been a visit of, I would say, just about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, it has been an extremely substantive visit. You can see that in terms of the outcomes, and I think this particular visit has contributed to the setting, in fact, the direction of work between India and the UAE in the very near future. I'll stop there. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them. Thank you.
So we'll start from Kalol, from you.
Sir, Kaulal from The Hindu. The West Asian region has a history of hostilities among various countries going all the way back to, say, Iran-Iraq war. And often there have been requests from these warring countries for help from India. And today we are seeing the situation in the region between Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And this sort of a strategic defense partnership that you have just mentioned, sir, how do we read it? Like, is it in India's long-term interest to get engaged with powers in this region, especially in the given hostile condition that the region finds itself in? Does it serve India's long-term security interests in the region, considering the region also holds millions of Indian workers and it's a source of energy for India?
So, Sahil?
Sir, I'm Sahil Pandey from MEA News Agency. Did UAE's position on Yemen conflict come into the discussion, and was there any alignment of sorts between India and UAE on this? Thank you.
Rishabh?
Adding to what Sahil said, Rishabh from Times Now. So, did the discussion on Gaza peace program and the Board of Peace for Gaza came into discussion? And since the trade was discussed heavily, was tariff also discussed in the meeting?
Divya?
So, Divya from Indian Express. What were the discussions, if any, about US's possible involvement in Iran and the situation thereon? And if we could get any details on the digital embassy that you spoke about.
Megha?
Good evening, sir. This is Megha from NewsX. Any conversation that happened between the two heads of governments on IMEC?
Okay. Kalol, I think you have set out a certain framing for your question in terms of what is happening in the region. But our involvement in on the defense and security front with a country from the region does not then necessarily lead to the conclusion that we will get involved in particular ways in the conflicts of the region. There is already a great deal of content in defense cooperation and engagement on the defense front between India and the UAE, and in fact between India and a few other countries in the region as well. As you are aware, in last April, so starting already almost a year ago, the UAE Defense Minister and the Crown Prince of Dubai, who was on this visit, by the way, he had visited India. This was a watershed moment in our bilateral defense cooperation. We then elevated the institutional framework of defense dialogue between the two countries to the level of secretaries, vice ministers between the two countries. Our air assets have been regularly participating in the Dubai Air Show. There have been last year alone, if I recall correctly, 3 service chiefs from the UAE have visited India. Our own Army Chief was in the UAE not too long ago, I think just earlier this month. And there have been regular staff talks at the level of various services, as well as bilateral naval as well as army exercises between the two countries. In fact, the last exercise between the army was held in December 2025. So it's really building on this very broad basis and considerable experience in the defense and security cooperation field that letter of intent was signed today to work on concluding a framework agreement for strategic defense partnership in order to expand the existing bilateral defense cooperation across a number of areas. And the idea would be to see what else it is that we can do. For instance, we plan to look at defense industrial cooperation, defense innovation, partnerships in advanced technology in the area of defense, as well as expanding the linkages on training, on education, perhaps training between the special forces of the two countries, look at defense threats in the cyberspace domain, counterterrorism, which is an area of interest for both countries. So I would really characterize it as a natural evolution from the already considerable defense cooperation between the two countries, and not necessarily a response to any specific event that may have taken place in the region, or of any intent to get involved in a hypothetical future scenario in the region. Sahil and Rishabh and Divya, I think you've all asked questions related to various geopolitical issues that have hit headlines from this region in recent times, whether it is the developments in Yemen or developments related to the conflict in Gaza or the situation in Iran. I can only tell you that all of these issues were discussed between the leaders. I cannot get into the details at this stage, but yes, both leaders had the opportunity to share their views and opinions in detail on these issues. On trade and tariffs, mostly this discussion was about bilateral trade and the salutary impact that the India-UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership has had on bilateral trade, and how we need to expand it in the coming years. On digital embassy, it's an interesting new concept. It relates to the effort of a country to, in a sense, find a safe harbor for data that it considers of national importance and strategic value. There are not too many successful examples of this concept having been executed in too many places in the world, but there are a few. It is a new concept for us as well. We may have to work out a regulatory framework for getting into this. But it is an interesting area in which the UAE has expressed some interest, and we are willing to work with them and see how we can set this up, while, of course, respecting the fact that data has certain sovereignty-related issues attached to it. We will work through these issues. On IMEC, Megha, you would be aware that India and the UAE already have an initiative in the form of the virtual trade corridor, which has been pilot tested in a sense. And this virtual trade corridor is essentially, in a sense, you can call it a software building block of IMEC going into the future. Right now, it is at a bilateral level between India and the UAE. And once launched at full scale, it can be replicated across the entire corridor as and when developments on that front take place.
Okay. Shruti, we'll go with you.
Thank you, sir. So, Shruti Ranjan from Bloomberg, sir. One clarification, sir, on the LNG supply contract, if you could give us the figure, because I missed it. My apologies on that. And also, sir, on the Dholera investment, if you could give us details of what, or a dollar figure, if that has been decided in the talks, sir.
Mm-hmm. Amiti, please.
So Amiti from Hindu Business Line. So in the discussions on the India-EU CECA, did gold come up, since gold was one of the first items that created some issues after the trade agreement was in place? There was a spike in imports, and then India had put in place restrictions. So did it come up in the discussions?
Mm-hmm. Neeraj.
नमस्कार सर, मैं नीरज दुबे प्रवास साक्षी से। इससे पहले सर, आपने दूसरे प्रश्न में जो 3 सवालों के आपने जवाब समन्वित तरीके से दिए, उसको हिंदी में बस दोहरा दीजिए सर। गाजा पीस पोर्ट वाला और बाकी जो 3 सवाल आपने जो लिए थे उसके एक सर।
Shruti, on LNG, this is a sale and purchase agreement between Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited and the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company Gas, ADNOC Gas. And it's a long-term agreement providing for the purchase of 0.5 million metric tons per annum of LNG by HPCL from ADNOC Gas over a period of 10 years, starting from 2028. So those are the details that I have immediately on that. On Dholera, the idea of, there is no dollar figure right now because we are still looking at which projects will actually go into the package, but we are looking at pursuing or attracting investment from the UAE in the development of the special investment region in Dholera in Gujarat, which essentially focuses on infrastructure. And included in this infrastructure, you are aware that there is already a cargo terminal functional in Dholera. The idea would be to expand this and add a full-fledged international airport in Dholera. Next to that would be things like a pilot training school, an MRO facility, and also other infrastructure projects, as I said, ports and smart urban township, railways, energy projects, etc., that would come up. This will be pursued between the UAE and the government of Gujarat, and we will provide details as specific projects get agreed between the two sides. On gold, Amita, no, I don't think it got down to that level of detail where this particular issue came up, but I think you should address the question to the Ministry of Commerce, which might have details on what the exact status right now is with regard to this particular issue. नीरज, मैं उस सवाल के सिलसिले में ये कह रहा था कि जो दोनों लीडर्स के बीच बातचीत हुई, उसमें जो अभी गाज़ा में जो पीस प्लान है, उसको लेके जो अभी हाल ही में कुछ डेवलपमेंट्स हुए हैं, उनके बारे में दोनों लीडर्स के बीच में बातचीत हुई. ईरान में जो अभी हाल ही में स्थिति बनी हुई थी, वहाँ पे प्रोटेस्ट हुए थे और एक तरह से उथल-पुथल वहाँ पे मचा हुआ था, तो उसके बारे में भी दोनों लीडर्स के बीच में बातचीत हुई. और जो हम पिछले एक महीने से यमन में देख रहे हैं, वहाँ पे जो हालात बने हुए हैं, उनके बारे में भी दोनों लीडर्स के बीच में बातचीत हुई.
Thank you, sir. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of this press briefing.